Good evening and welcome to the Bay St. Louis Planning and Zoning meeting of November 1st, 2023. Please silence all cell phones and electronics at this time. We're going to begin with a short prayer and Pledge of Allegiance. Just 1 second. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
Father in heaven, we invite you to preside over this meeting. Give us unity of spirit, even when our opinions differ. Help us to listen politely to other points of view and to remember that we are all a part of the same community. Direct our thoughts, words, decisions, and actions toward the right path and the best interest of our city. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our first application is CW Holdings, application for sketch plat approval and variance to the zoning ordinance submitted by CW Holdings. The applicant is requesting to subdivide one parcel into two new parcels of land. Both parcels will meet the required lot area. However, parcels 1 and 2 will need a variance of 10.79 feet, resulting in 89.21 feet to the lot width. The property is located at 117 Leopold Street, parcel 144P-0-19-062.000, 128E, 314D, 135A, First Ward, Bay St. Louis. The property is zoned R1 Single Family District. Is the applicant here tonight? You state your name and address and tell us a little bit more about why you're asking for the variance.
My name is Leah Waters with Waters Architecture at 133 Davis Avenue in Pat's. And we're seeking a variance for these two lots in order to put two homes on the lot. The lot is particularly wide. By reducing it down, it becomes similar with other lots that are on the street. 100-foot lots is the minimum required by right. We're seeking to reduce the lots to a 90-foot width. The depth of the lots is 368, and so we have substantial depth available on the lot. I'm glad to show pictures of what the developer has done on Felicity, just because these are homes that are an improvement within the community. Not necessarily an improvement, but we're doing similar homes. This was on a 65-foot lot width, and we will be doing these on a 90-foot lot width. The homes will be screened from underneath, parking will be considered. There's beautiful trees on the lot, and so we found ways that you can see in your documents by staggering the homes, we're able to respect the trees and also give them variety within the subdivision. Is there any questions I can address?
If there's no questions from the commissioners, I have some people in the audience signed up to speak. I can't read the first name, but Kirkison, 111 Leopold Street. Yes, ma'am. Can you come up to the podium and state your name? It's just hard to hear. That's just in general for the evening. If you could always come up to the podium and speak into the mic because it's being recorded and it's difficult for people at home to hear us if we're not directly in front of the mic.
Okay, my name is Rosalie Ferguson. I actually signed that piece of paper because I was here. I didn't know I was going to have to talk.
Oh, you don't have I made you come up and everything. You don't have to speak,
I don't come
but
to these meetings,
since you're there, do you want to?
That's all right, I'm here, so
Yes.
I'll talk.
Now that you're
What's
here.
your thoughts? Tell us your thoughts, Ms. Rosalie.
So I have lived here on Leopold Street for close to 60 years. Our neighbors are all pretty well-established people here in town, and it's a very quiet neighborhood. And when I was growing up here in the Bay, it was sand. This road, Leopold, was nothing but sand, and they had big ruts to go down it. But anyway, I was very upset about this, even though my property is not adjacent to what this lady proposes. The ordinance that was adopted after Katrina states that if it's going to cause a hardship to the property owner, that's the only reason why a variance could be considered. If you read number 1 of that ordinance. Now, this is not anything to cause a hardship, except for Mr. Adams to sell his property. And there's many ways that he could have done this without having to do this. He could have made 2 lots and put a little road down the side, just like Church Street on our street. Did the same thing. So I'm just very much against it. And I thought that Mr. Adams was going to live there. We were told that. But apparently it's going to be for spec. And my brother, Norman Cowan, and Lisa live on Dunbar and Leonard. Their street is turned into a nightmare with the B&Bs, with the people coming over here who are on vacation and they want to have fun, but they're riding around in the golf carts with music blaring at night. And Lisa said it's a nightmare what their street has turned into. And we don't, ours is, like I say, it's an established street, been like that for many years. So I ask that this not be done, please. Please don't accept this, just for us, because we've lived here so long and we love our neighborhood. So, and we're a close neighborhood. All right, thank you.
Thank you for speaking, Ms. Roseland. Ms. Anita Warner.
Anita Warner, Live Oak Registry, Hancock County. Bay St. Louis, ordinance number 302.192 defines a protected tree as any live oak tree with a circumference of at least 38 inches. Per the plans that you have, you will see there are a number of oak trees on this property. And although they say they're going to protect them, I'm always highly suspicious when they talk about building around oak trees. So at this point, I think it would be well to keep the property as it is and not split it. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Anita. Mr. Nero, is that right?
Yes, my name's Redwood or Woody Nero, and I live 2 lots away, but I own 3 lots, one which is on the north side of this property in question, and the one beside the property. We bought on that north side of Leopold Street in 2005, just before Katrina, and the reason was because they were really large estate-sized lots with single homes, and it was one of the most beautiful streets in Bay St. Louis. There are not many properties in Bay St. Louis that are over an acre and have really nice houses. Even on Melody Lane, somebody built and bought a house on a smaller lot, and they bought the adjacent lot because they wanted more property. Now, Mr. Adams bought this lot from a friend for about maybe I heard $88,000. He put it on the market for $295,000 a few years later. And it sat, and it sat, and he got offers, and he didn't accept any of them. And so the hardship here is, I couldn't sell it for $295, so I'm gonna split it and now sell it and get that same amount of money out. So really, we thought he was gonna build on this lot and move there, but now he's just gonna split it and make more money. And so we end up with houses on lot, which this street, it's really unique because I've got 250-foot wide lots and I love them. It's great to have all that space. And so I know you'll probably pass it because you've been passing everything that comes before you. It seems to be a trend here in Bay St. Louis. The P&Z is actually kind of a joke. Anyways, that's my opinion as a neighbor who loves the large space and all the land. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Can you come up to the podium?
Reached out to Mr. Adams or one of the children and to ask, to see about buying the property. And he told Michael want $310,000 for this piece of property. I mean, it was just insane. So I don't know what kind of hardship Mr. Adams is trying to say. That's the only hardship, I'm like Woody, is that he couldn't sell his land for an exorbitant amount of money. So.
Thank you. Anyone else in the audience that would like to speak for or against the application? Yes, sir. Can you come up and state your name and address for us?
My name is Harold Bolton. I live at 132 Leopold. My wife and I recently purchased the property that we're slowly moving into. And when I heard all this going on, I'm kind of concerned that my property is going to be devalued. We bought this house because we really like the street. We think it's beautiful. And I just don't want it destroyed because of somebody trying to make a buck. All right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else in the audience that would like to speak? Yeah, if you, can you get up? I didn't see any other hands, so I think you can go. You want to go?
Okay, my name is Bill Adam, as you've heard expressed. I figured I should address some of the inaccuracies that were brought up. So I didn't intend on speaking tonight, but the property, you know, I mean, I'm hearing numbers. Sure, there's a value on all property, no matter what the size is. The value of this property will not change by splitting it, okay? So there's 66,000 square feet on this property. I think splitting them is 33,000, correctly? So this still remains like, you know, 3/4 or plus per acre per lot. Yes, I was gonna build a home on it. But I decided to purchase another home in the Bay, which is where I've lived for 45 years or plus. And this property is too large for a single house. So the practicality of it is to split it for two houses. Putting a road in along one side is not practical either. Splitting it in the front is the practical way to do it. The trees will not be touched. All the live oaks are in the front. The houses would be set behind the oak tree, where the original house was. So the house and the lot has been improved. Pulled up the pool, have been maintaining the grass for many years. So this is not about opportunity. It's about progress for the city. So, you know, 90-foot wide lots right down the street on Felicity. Mr. Core built a little small postage stamp lot several years back. I think there's several lots down Felicity that are a little less than 100. I'm sorry, Leopold. But there's a lot of inaccuracies as to what was said tonight, and I think that the proposal makes sense. So I would hope you would understand that. So can I answer any questions for the members?
I'm good. I'm going to open up for comments, the commissioners, but I'm kind of going to echo the same thing. You know, I say all the time, it's not my job to make sure people turn a profit, and I certainly can't police Airbnbs as much as I would like to. It's our job, as much as of a joke as it may be, to look at the variances as presented to us. And looking at this variance, of my personal opinion, it's minor, and these are not small size homes. They're nice sized homes. I mean, they're still way more than the minimum required setback on each side, just looking at the plot plans. I think it would be a nice development. Any other comments from the commissioners or questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move it.
Motion by Mr. Agee. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. LeBlanc. All those in favor?
Nay.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion passes 4-1. Please be present at the next city council meeting. It's going to be Tuesday, November 7th at 5:30 p.m. Our next application is, I hope I say this right, Imbornone, application for special exception to the zoning ordinance submitted by Sylvia and Daniel Imbornone. The applicants are requesting a special exception to construct an accessory dwelling in the rear yard once the parcels are combined into one. The property is located at 230 and 232 Keller Street, parcel 149M-20-30-021.000, 3rd Ward, 75A, Bay St. Louis, parcel 149M-2-30-023.000, 76 3rd Ward, Bay St. Louis. The property is zoned C2 Neighborhood Commercial District. Is the applicant here tonight?
Speaking of, like, as it sits today, and y'all have a survey, they have two legal parcels, parcel 1 and then parcel 2. Like, it is two completely pre-existing non-conforming lots. So as of today, just for property owner to speak, you can build a legal dwelling on parcel 1, which is the one that's in the front on Keller Street, and parcel 2. I guess you just have to give some sort of easement to get to the back. But as of now, you can build at least a 750 square foot house on both lots legally. So, and what's before y'all is, yes, they're two different ones, but what we're trying to talk about now is he would be combining the lots. But to combine the lots into one, he wants to have insurance that he can have the special exception to build the accessory dwelling in the back, the mother-in-law. So he could have a primary residence and then the dwelling that's in the back that would be at least 50% of, or below 50% of the primary dwelling, but it would meet all the residential setbacks, the 20 feet and 8. So.
And then if I was reading, yeah, like, so this plot plan with the big house and the accessory structure on it, it would have to straddle both property lines, so there's assurance that they would have to absolutely get before they got a building permit, because they wouldn't be able to straddle both property lines.
I think I put in the letter. If y'all do choose to approve it, I'd like for y'all to state the motion. If y'all choose to approve it, motion to approve the special exception with condition that the lots are combined prior to submitting for the building application.
Yes, can y'all come up and speak and state your name and address for us, and tell us a little bit more, if there's something you'd like to add?
I'm Danny Imbornone. It's my wife Sylvia Imbornone. We are 3761 Beauvais Street in Metairie, Louisiana. And I mean,
I think he basically
Jeremy covered
explained it. What we're trying to do is we have the property that's there, and it has been approved by the Historic Commission. We are not tearing anything down. Where we're taking is moving that property to the rear on the second lot, and then building the main house where we'll be living.
Okay.
My husband's grown up here in Bay St. Louis. We had our house at 216 Water Street, bought it in '97, and Katrina took care of that being a lot at this point. So we're just trying to rebuild, and we have all our family within walking distance. And this is our place. This is where his parents are, and this is where we plan on retiring within the next 10 years. But this will be our home. This is not an investment property to sell. This is for us to live in. Currently, our home, my mother is handicapped, and so we have a secondary home where we are currently with her. And so this would be just an accessory separate from the house, and it's for our family to use. So I just want to make sure, this will be our home. So it's not something that we're flipping or anything like that. Anybody has that question, we brought the plans if anybody wanted to take a look at them. But essentially, we're just asking, since it is two existing non-conforming lots, approval of us having that accessory building before we actually combine those lots.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Does y'all have anything? I think I just had Mr. Cliff Rabelais signed up to speak. Oh, there you are.
Good evening. Cliff Rabelais, I'm speaking on behalf of the Historic Preservation Commission. I spoke with Mr. Imbornone. I don't know if it was him or his father over a year ago. Yes, this is a pre-existing non-conforming. The only access they had to what's the existing structure was via somebody else's driveway. They went to a lot of effort, bought the property that fronts Keller Street. Long story, but they've done a lot of effort to do this. They also acknowledged that even though the house, because it has no siding on it, it looks kind of rough, they agreed to not demo it, which, as y'all know, in the historic area, we're kind of hard on that. They're going to relocate. They're not constructing a new accessory. They're relocating an existing building. And their way to do this is because they were able to buy the property that fronts on Keller Street, now they have access, not via somebody else's driveway, and they can build a house and then move this existing this accessory building and fix it up. I don't remember if it was what it was, but it was, what was presented to the Historic Commission was, we thought was very acceptable. It says a lot for the amount of effort they had to put in to be able to gain straight access to their property. So from the Historic Preservation Commission, we accepted it, and we encouraged it. You know, this would be a good thing because it does let us clean up something that's there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rabelais. Anybody else in the audience? If there's no other comments or questions from the commissioners, I'll entertain a motion. Oh, sorry. Yes, ma'am, come up, please. Sorry, I missed you.
Nearby neighbor.
Can you speak into the mic just a
Sure.
little bit more?
My name's Renee Vizek. I'm a nearby neighbor. I live 3 doors. The house they're talking about, the historic house that they're talking about, was built after Katrina with no permits. It was never finished and no permits were ever pulled. It's just a shell. So there's nothing historic here.
Well, I don't know. I can't approve or, I don't know. I can't confirm nor deny. I mean, I saw what the house looked like, but I mean, I'm all for preserving what's already there versus, you know, tearing down something, you know. I'll entertain a motion. If there's nothing else.
I'll move it, subject to,
The lots being combined before
Building permits.
submitting a plan, before submitting building plans.
yeah, you didn't see my lips move, but that's what I said, yeah.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Ag, second by Mr. Romano. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion passes. Please be present for the next city council meeting. It's going to be Tuesday, November 7th at 5:30 p.m. and it'll be in this room as well. Our next application is Klimas. Application for variance to the zoning ordinance submitted by Joseph Klimas. The applicant intends to construct a single-family dwelling. The applicant is requesting a variance of 5 feet, resulting in a 3-foot setback to both side yards, and a variance of 5 feet, resulting in 15-foot setback to the rear yard. The property is located at 251 Cary Court, parcel 137R-0-44-021.001, part 20 through 21, block 2, St. Charles subdivision. The property is zoned R3 multifamily district. Yes, sir, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Joe Klimas, 300 Eleanor Street, New Orleans, Louisiana. My wife and I, we vacation here for the last 20 years and fell in love with the place. So, we found a lot, and I got a problem with the variance that I'm asking for because it was written wrong.
What is it?
So on the back, I am asking for the additional 5 feet. I'm only asking for an additional 3 feet on the side, so it'd be a 5-foot offset.
So it should read, requesting a variance of 3 feet resulting in a 5-foot setback to both side yards.
So since it's less than what it is, it's still legal, because if someone is against a 5-foot variance, one would assume that a 3-foot variance would be
Yeah.
fine, so.
Yeah, that's fine, yeah,
Yeah,
it'll
you
fit
see what
in
I'm
there,
saying?
yeah, just so you know, it'll fit. in
No,
there.
I'm sorry.
Okay,
Yeah.
no, but I am
Okay.
glad you addressed that, just so we know, because I did notice it was written in red ink 5 foot on either side.
So anyway, yeah, asking for a variance. The problem is I think we started off with a detached garage, and that's what fit. And then I think when we went through design process with the architect, all of a sudden the garage got attached. And those setbacks, I think, were 15 and 5 on the sides, and that's kind of what we went with. So, I'm asking for a variance so I don't have to go redesign this house.
It's a large lot. It's a big
100
lot.
It's 100 by
For-
100, or 95 by 95.
It's the width. It's a pretty drastic variance for such a large lot. I'm just worried. It's a safety thing for me too. I always say, because you can't get. I mean, we need 8 feet is for a reason to get if something happened in the backyard. Or if there's a future pool, how are we going to
So
get
if I
machinery
shifted
and
it to one side, just 8 feet on one side, or
I'd rather you respect both side yard
Sides.
setbacks, because just from an aesthetic point of view, just taking the house in, I mean, it's going to be really close to your neighbors. I'm
Uh-huh.
sure, I've got people signed up to speak. I'm sure they're going to echo the same.
yeah.
But just from first glance, when I was first looking at this application, this house is too wide for the lot.
Okay. Now what about the back? Can I get that?
I'm not as opposed to the back as I
Okay.
am, because it's only 5 feet in the back, as I am the front, and I'm assuming, as I am the sides. What is it, a 26-foot front setback where a 25-foot is required. I'm gonna let those who signed up to speak come to the podium for a little bit, so you can answer any questions that they have in case you have to go back to the drawing board. Mr. Randy Martin, 239 Cary Court.
Amy, I don't know if you want to do it first. You have 2 letters of opposition. In case it,
The ones that are in the packet, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I have this. Are there any new ones in here? Okay. Yeah, okay.
and then Connie, she's here too.
Okay. I'm going to read this really a short letter. Bay St. Louis P&Z, I'm the owner of 247 Cary Court, regarding the, can you say your last name again? Klimas. Lot on Cary Court. Klimas is asking for variances on both side yards from 8 feet to 3 feet, and on the back from 20 feet down to 15 feet. He also has X's marked on every single oak tree in the property to clear cut them all. I am in favor of the 2 rotten water oaks being cut. I am fully opposed to them cutting down any live oak tree on the property or trimming back the large limbs of my oak trees that overhang their lot. This fully disrupts the scenery of the neighborhood and affects surrounding home property values. I am also fully opposed to the variance requesting to putting the home 3 feet off of my fence line. This would greatly disrupt the root system of my live oaks and may put their health in jeopardy. I would be able to reach over the fence and touch their home essentially, which also affects my property and from a privacy standpoint. In addition, this variance request is far from reasonable, especially in a smaller town neighborhood with cottage-style homes. This request does not conform to the current zoning nor the surrounding home setbacks and home sizes. Typically, with wild live oaks, homes are designed and built around the trees, not clear-cutting protected ones. Thank you. And I have a letter from Miss Connie, but she's here, so I'm going to let her speak. Oh, sorry. Okay. Please consider this email as notice of my opposition to the zoning variance request at 251 Cary Court, from Miss Lynn Barrett. She's at 231 Cary Court. Sorry, go ahead.
Not a problem. Again, thank y'all for giving me the opportunity to talk in front of y'all. As mentioned before, my name is Randy Martin. My wife and I own a house at 239 Cary Court, which, believe it or not, is directly across the street from 251. We've owned the house for 14 years. It was basically a cottage-type house, wood frame house that was built in the 1940s. We've spent a lot of time and money to maintain the integrity of the house that was originally built, and we think that that stays with the neighborhood. Again, I'd like to reiterate a lot of the comments that were made in relation to the variances that are requested. I think the house is way too big for the lot, even though it is a large lot. If you look at the street, there's a lot of oak trees on the street. There's a lot of houses that have been there for a long time. Again, for safety, that I think they need a larger setback, at least the 8 foot. Personally, I'd like to see 10 foot, but that's not in accordance with your city ordinances. Again, the oak trees. You know, oak trees after Hurricane Katrina, we know that oak trees and magnolia trees have been saved and maintained by the city as special trees, and those have to be kept. Any construction around them endangers the root system, and it's very serious that any root system, once it's damaged, it's going to destroy the trees. Once the trees start dying, they're going to be cut down. So again, with that, I'm opposed to all the variances that are being applied for, and again, thank you for allowing me to talk to you.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Ms. Connie Voigt, 253 Cary Court.
Hi, I'm Connie Boyd. I live at 253, which is next door, and this is not anything against you. I just want you to understand that. But my husband and I live at 253 Cary Court, next door to the property. I represent the neighbors who have signed the petition included in your packets. It will speak on behalf of them this evening. And I'll also insert that with every neighbor, we discussed an amount of setback, and no amount of variance was suitable to anybody that I talked to while I visited houses. The petition includes neighbors on all sides of 251 and across the street, as well as others in close vicinity. We feel that the requested 5-foot variance will change the face of our neighborhood. As you know, Cary Court is a short street and the houses are small and on good-sized lots. Most of the lots have plenty of trees, grass, and landscaping, adding to the beauty of the area. Most of the houses are cottages or vintage in style. All of the undersigned have abided by our city ordinances and have setbacks of at least 8 feet on each side, as well as the minimum required back and front setbacks. The variance request was presented to us without hardship conditions, and we see no reason for variances of any size to be granted. We are concerned with how many trees are marked for removal at 251 Cary. I know Miss Anita will address this topic more eloquently and intelligently than I, but I will mention that there seems to be absolutely no reason to remove the live oak on the northwest corner closest to our property. This tree is not in the way of any proposed house, as it is within the 25-foot front yard setback required by city ordinances. Its branches span the street, enhancing the beauty and the canopy of our live oaks on Cary Court. Further, if this oak were to be removed, it could result in damage to the registered live oak on our property, and they are within a few feet of each other, and after 100 or so years, their roots are surely entwined. In addition to our 100-year-old oak, there's another live oak that straddles the property line. This one is not marked with an X, and we presume they don't intend to take it down. A variance less than 8 feet would mean building a home on top of this pair of trees. Quite the impossible feat. Additionally, according to the city ordinance, there can be no impervious surfaces applied within a 5-foot diameter of the protected tree. The house built as designed would violate that ordinance regarding these twin live oaks. As a side note, many of the undersigned, including the Voigts and the Bourgeois, built houses in locations on their property, our property, that would not harm the live oaks. For instance, our backyard is smaller than we would have liked because we increased our front yard setback to give one of our oldest registered oaks plenty of room to grow. Further, if granted a 3-foot variance would impact the safety of surrounding houses. When houses are built so close together, and there's information documented in that packet I gave you, the risk of a house fire or wildfire spreading increases immensely. In fact, professionals state that houses should be greater than 10 feet apart for optimal safety. I have included some articles, already said that, blah, blah, blah. At one point, the roof line of the proposed home seems to be an overhang along the property line, decreasing the 11-foot safety zone to 10 feet or less. It's impossible to endorse risking neighborhood safety, especially considering the drought conditions we have experienced this year. In addition, there is a definite concern as to how emergency work vehicles would access the backyard at 251 Cary, given the small side space between the fences and neighboring houses. As you can see from the photo taken at one of the older houses in our neighborhood that currently does have a 3-foot setback between their house and their neighbor's fence, there is barely enough room to get a lawnmower through, let alone a fire truck or a backhoe. Sadly, Tom and I have been privy to what happens when a home is engulfed in flames. In our former neighborhood, the house on the other side of our next-door neighbor's house was thoroughly engulfed in flames one night. By the time the fire department arrived, the firefighters knew the burning house was a loss. We watched as the firemen navigated the area between houses to provide a continuous flow of water over the burning roof and over our neighbor's fence and house. These houses were 24 feet apart, and it took everything the firefighters had to keep the fire from spreading. If there had been a mere 3-foot setback on the side of the house, I'm not sure how the firefighters would have contained the fire. The undersigned feel that there is much at stake here: safety, privacy, property value, ambiance, protected trees, etc. However, we all want to stress the importance of, in the absence of hardships, the fact that residents should be required to follow our ordinances and build within our city codes. Our city leader created codes and ordinances to enhance and protect Bay St. Louis, our residents, and our native vegetation. We believe in adherence to these codes is of value to everyone in our little community. We stand behind the city in the enforcement of our codes. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you, Ms. Connie.
Do you have any questions?
Any questions for Ms. Connie? We did receive a petition that it has about 40 signatures on it that is submitted to the record. Ms. Anita Warner.
Anita Warner on behalf of the Live Oak Registry for Hancock County. Pursuant to Bay St. Louis Ordinance 302.192, any live oak tree with a circumference in excess of 38 inches is a protected tree. On this property, there are 3 that are 7 feet 7, 7 feet, and 6 feet 5. So they're all in excess of the approximate 3 feet that is a protected tree. In addition, both the Bourgeois and the Voights have registered oak trees on their property that are on the sides of this one, so that if these variances were granted, they would very likely impact the already existing registered oak trees. So basically what Mr. Klimas is doing is he has a 94 or 95, exactly how you leverage the size of the lot. He wants to put an 85-foot house on a 95-foot lot. It's too big. I keep telling y'all that time after time, but this is a perfect example of where the house is too big for the lot. And there's shown no reason for it other than I want it, and if I have to, I'd have to redo it. That's not a hardship. That's his choice in advance. And when he goes in and puts X's on all the trees, he's clear cutting simply because it makes it easier to build this monster house. Opposed. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Warner. And Mr. Cliff Rabelais.
Cliff Rabelais, 702 3rd Street. I can only echo what's been implied. There is absolutely no reason why you should need these variances on this size lot. Point blank. It's been brought up by the neighbors. On this part of town, unlike Old Town, we have big lots with big trees. I've had houses get designed and then redesigned and then redesigned. I didn't use you on that one, but I did it 4 times on the house that I built on Beach Boulevard to meet setbacks and oak tree stuff. Getting them redesigned is part of it. Some of the local architects I deal with, I have asked and are more directed that they need to redesign the house for reasons. Some of them, oftentimes setbacks, oftentimes trees and all that. So it goes back to, yeah, you're going to have to redesign the house because the bottom line is from this size lot, there's absolutely no reason why you should need a variance. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rabelais. Anybody else that would like to speak for or against? Mr. Klimas, would you like to address anything that was said tonight? Or any questions that came up? Yes, ma'am.
Ann Klimas, and the lot was for sale for a single resident home. Didn't know anything about variances, how big it should be, maybe it's too big. But a house has to be built on that property. That's why we bought it. It was sold because we want to build a home. And the oak tree, love oak trees, maybe it's in the middle of the property, not touch the ones on the side. But, before that lot was for sale, years ago, it was a junkyard. And people just threw their junk on the yard. And there's pictures of that. So we just want to build a home. That's our purpose, that's what it was for sale. If nobody wants us to live, they just want to keep it an empty lot, that's okay. But love to build a
No, I understand, and I really truly believe your neighbors want to welcome you to the neighborhood. Can I ask a side question? Did y'all have any inclination that there was this much opposition to the variance prior to the meeting?
We had no idea. It is on Facebook.
Well, everything's on Facebook. Not good things about me either. But no, I do hope, you know, if this variance does not pass, that if you do go back to the drawing board, if you could, I mean, I'm sure anybody here is willing to help out. Miss Anita is very knowledgeable about oak trees and setback distances and everything. Because, I mean, it really is a great neighborhood, and it would be nice to get a house there, but within the appropriate setbacks. And I think you'll be happier that way too. So, if there's no other questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to deny?
Second.
A motion to deny by Mr. Osborne, second by Mr. Romano. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes, so the variance request is denied, but please be present at the next city council meeting Tuesday, November 7th at 5:30 PM. Next application is Admiral Isles, application for an amendment to the official zoning map. The applicants are requesting to change parcels 134Q -0-40-102.000 and 139B-0-40-001.000 from R1 single family to R1A residential single family district. Parcel 134Q-0-40-102.000. PR Joseph Favre, CL 40-8-14, parcel 139B-0-40-001.000, Admiral Island Block, B lots 1 through 39, JOS. The property is currently zoned R1 Single Family District.
And then, this is on.
It's on.
And then commissioners, I think D and E kind of go hand in hand. So I'll go grab the map outside. So currently, Admiral Isles, as we see it now, is zoned, the first half is zoned, I think, highway commercial. Maybe the second row of houses, the second street in there, is actually zoned, I think, is zoned R1 as now, but they're all built on 75-foot lots. So E, which is the sketch plat approval, they're asking for a map amendment to allow R1A. And there was a discussion of why R1A. Those are 50-foot wide lots that are 5,000 square foot. But you're only allowed to have single-family residents on there. The lots on the sketch plat, which is a pretty much complete set, because this was already approved by the county in 2001, 2002. The whole Admiral Isles, well, there's an annexation that took place. So during annexation, I think we have to kind of realize, but what you see out there right now is phase 1 and 2, which was a Hancock County project. 3, 4, and 5, as in the paperwork, is now became a Bay St. Louis project, which I guess now has to come through us. Well, whenever the zoning maps were originally adopted, and I didn't realize this until they came in there, it's zoned for something that's not even there right now. It's zoned for 100-foot lots that are 12,000 square foot. Most of these lots are on the sketch platter. There's 75-foot lots, and when I say they're 75-foot lots, there's always already water and sewer with water taps for 75-foot lots, every 75 foot. So the reason they're asking for the zoning change is, A, truth be told, it probably should have been R1A whenever it was annexed. And then 2, it's going to allow protection for, I know it's a hot topic, but it won't allow duplexes to come in. It's gonna have to be single-family houses.
Is the applicant here tonight to speak? Can you state your name and address for us?
Kenny Allison, 6293 Pontiac Drive, Kill, Mississippi.
Well, it sounds like Jeremy covered a lot of it. but
I know we discussed it.
Yeah, this
trying to
is
explain.
basically it's set up to already be 75-foot lots, and it was something that was gonna come to be, but then an annexation occurred and it was overlooked essentially.
We were approved by the county, and like, we turned the water and sewer lines
Yeah.
over to Hancock County Water and Sewer. They own them, they're tapped every 75 foot. You know, the roads were put in back in, you know, all the structures in.
And it's ready to go.
And now it's selling real good, and we want to move on to next phases with everywhere else we do it, Pearl River County, Harrison County, you know, wherever. They accept your big subdivision plat, but you do it in phases, and the reason you do it in phases is to keep from having to pay taxes on 200 lots, where you open up phases as they're selling. So all the infrastructure's there, and, you know, we're just wanting to move on with the next phase.
Understand. Are there any questions from the commissioners?
Nobody.
I don't think anyone signed up to speak. Yes, Mr. Rabelais, you wanna come up and speak?
Good evening, Cliff Rabley. I didn't sign up, but when I read this, I was confused. I had to go ask, Josh. I thought all the lots, cause I was out in Ward 6, on property out there back when it were R1, and it was a nightmare. I think, Chet, you were on the board at that time. I don't think any of the rest of them were, but that area, I was shocked that it's not R1A. You're right. It was the development, Hurricane Katrina, the annexation, and then, we changed the zoning in Ward 6 to R1A because they were all 50-foot lots. I mean, you guys remember when I first started looking, they said, you can buy a shoreline park. Oh my God. But obviously it got missed. I was just get up and say, it's confused me why they were having to ask for it, because I thought it was already was 1A. Thank you.
If there's no other comments or questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve?
Motion to approve, second by Mr. Romano. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. Please be present at the next city council meeting, Tuesday, November 7th at 5:30 PM.
Sketch plat.
Next application is Nunez, application for.
No, we gotta do E.
So we
Yeah,
did,
see, I knew I was messing
we
up.
did the zoning, now we have to do the sketch plat application
I'll move it. Do we need to
for
discuss
E.
it?
No, can I just entertain a motion for,
Just entertain a motion to approve sketch plat of,
I've lost the, a motion to approve
I move that we approve the sketch plat.
the sketch plat.
the sketch plat for,
Okay. Application for sketch plat approval submitted by Admiral Isles LLC. The applicants are requesting to subdivide Phase 3 to 5 of Admiral Isles into 113 lots. The property is located off of Sugarfield Road in Admiral Isles subdivision. Parcel 134Q-0-40-102.000, PR Joseph Favre CL 40-8-14, parcel 139B-0-40-001.000. Admiral Island Block B lots 1 through 39 JOS. I'll entertain a motion.
or see if there's any public,
If there's anybody in the audience I'd like to speak for or against the sketch plat. Any other comments, questions from the commissioners? Not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move it.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Ag, second by Mr. Romano. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. Please be present at the next city council meeting Tuesday, November 7th at 5:30 PM. And the next application is Nunez, application for variance to the zoning ordinance submitted by Chad Nunez. The applicant is wanting to construct a deck on the front of the residence. The applicant is requesting a variance of 24 feet, resulting in a 26-foot setback to the front yard. The property is located at 2002 North Beach Boulevard, parcel 144E-0-18-002.000 3G First Ward. The property is zoned R1 Single Family District.
Madam Chairman, I need to recuse myself. Do you want me to leave the room, or can I stay in the room?
And you can stay in the room.
You can stay in the room.
Well, I'd like to
You just can't
speak.
vote on it.
I'd like to speak if it's all right.
You can speak.
Oh, yeah, you can
You
Okay,
can
go
speak,
ahead.
you just can't vote.
speak from down here.
Okay.
So there's no confusion. How about you come down here?
Is Nunez is here tonight? Yes, sir. Can you, yeah, come tell us a little bit about your.
Yes, I'm Chad Nunez, the property owner of 2002 North Beach. We're just asking for an open porch decking. If it was on the ground, I don't think we would need a variance, as Jeremy made me aware of.
And we did previously grant the variance, if the commissioners remember, because this was the pre-existing
Yes,
Katrina
this
lot
pre-existing
with
slab
the
that we're trying to
foundation.
do the best
yeah.
we can. We're working with a slab that's been there for 20-something years.
Right.
It's been engineered that it's in good shape.
I had one letter, I think it's just from your
And that's
neighbor.
that's from the neighbor.
It says
Yeah.
to whom, what, Livingston, Mr. Livingston, 2006 North Beach Boulevard. It says to whom it may concern for Nunez zoning ordinance for 2002 North Beach for deck on front of residence variance of 24 feet to 26-foot setback of front yard. I have no objection to this, and I am in favor of their variance of a 26-foot setback of front. And I don't think I had anyone signed up to speak for the or against the application. Any other comments or questions from the commissioners from Mr. Nunez? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve?
Motion by Mr. Osborne. Is there a second?
Second.
Did you want to, I didn't let you
Oh, yeah.
speak. Second by Mr. Romano. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes. Please be present at the next city council meeting, Tuesday, November 7th at 5:30 PM.
All right, so
Mr.
we
LeBlanc is
show
coming
Mr.
back.
LeBlanc has entered, he exited the room for our meeting minutes.
Yes, he
We're showing Mr. Mr. LeBlanc.
exited. He's entering now.
And then go and have him re-enter the room at 6:24.
Okay, next application is Meyers. Application for variance to the zoning ordinance submitted by Ashton Meyers. The applicant is wanting to construct a dwelling and requesting a variance of 5 feet, resulting in a 20-foot setback to the front yard. The property is located at 10037 Louisiana Street, parcel 139A-0-40-036.001. Third block, 310, Unit 3, Add 1, Shoreline Park. The property is zone R1A, Single Family District. Is the applicant here tonight? Yes, sir.
My name is Ashton Meyers. My address is 16538 Spanish Court in Greenville Springs, Louisiana. We're asking for a 5-foot variance. We got our building permit and everything, and the property was surveyed by Duke Levy and Associates, and I think y'all have that picture. And per Duke Levy and them, from his property markers, brought my dirt pad in and had the dirt brought in after I got my permit, and he had drawn in a 20-foot setback. And then it was once I got my plans done by my architect, I was made aware that it had to be 25 feet. But the servitude from my property marker to the edge of the blacktop is 15 feet, where many of the other lots in the same area is 10 feet. So it's almost like I have more of a servitude there. The issue I'm coming into is I'd have to redo my whole dirt pad now for the house before I can continue construction. And also to move that pad back another 5 feet. The property sketch shows the end of my property going to the fishing dock that was already there when we purchased the property. Another 5 feet would leave me with like a 12-foot backyard, and we were hoping to be able to fence it in to keep our dog there. This isn't a Airbnb or anything. This is our vacation home we hopefully plan to retire to, in a few years. So.
We didn't have anyone signed up to speak. Anyone in the audience that would like to speak for or against? Any comments or questions from the commissioners? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move it.
Motion to approve by Mr. Agee. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Osborne. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Motion passes. Please be present at the next city council meeting, Tuesday, November 7th at 5:30 PM. Next application is Williams. Application for variance to the zoning ordinance submitted by Douglas and Susan Williams. The applicants are wanting to construct an 8-foot fence on the property is requesting a variance of 2 feet to the fence height requirement. The property is located at 425 Demottlin Avenue, parcel 149E-0-29-188.000, 1516E, 25 feet of 17 Block 3, Perkins subdivision. The property is zoned R2, two-family district. Is the applicant here tonight? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Susan Williams. This is my husband Douglas. We live at 425 Demottlin. We purchased our first house on Demottlin, a little cottage at 423 in 2017. And that's before we retired down here, so we used it part-time. And then about 2.5 years ago, our neighbor at 425 passed away, and we purchased that home. And when we bought it, it was a real hot mess. It was not even livable. So we have, since that time, we've made the house livable. It had to be gutted, it had to find drywall. So we are living in there now, and the next phase is to get the outside of our house to look nice, because we want our neighborhood to look nice. And so we've taken down the old chain link fence that was around the entire property. We've cleared out the backyard, and it's very open back there now, and it's become very obvious that we need a good privacy fence. And we're only asking to put the 8-foot fence along the back property line, not along the sides or anything, just along the back. The house at 423 already has an 8-foot privacy fence. So if we put one up next to it, it would look good because it almost looks like it's a continuation of that. My husband has knocked on every door, and I don't think any of our neighbors have an issue with it. As a matter of fact, we have some very nice, wonderful neighbors here to speak for us, because I think people want us to make improvements on this house, because it is going to be our forever house. We're going to be in there. We want it to look nice. The other thing I wanted to mention is hardship is an interesting word, but behind our house on St. George, the even side houses on St. George, their property is very shallow in the back, and so those houses are very close to our property line. And I have some pictures here. What my neighbors do in their yards is totally fine with me, but we don't necessarily want to. When we look out our kitchen window, we are looking directly into our neighbor's backyard, and as I said, I've got some pictures there for you to see. And just the extra 2 feet on the fence would make a world of difference.
Will the extra 2 feet completely prevent you from being able to see into their backyard?
Not completely. As I said, there's an 8-foot fence next door, and when you're standing right next to the fence, it doesn't matter. But when you're standing, like, as I said, in our kitchen,
Right back.
it would just be, look at those pictures, and you can see that.
Does anyone in the audience want to speak? Yes, ma'am, if you want to come up.
We live across, I'm Kathy Pin Benoit. We live across the street at 422 Demottlin, and these are wonderful people, I just want to tell you. We're so happy they have moved here from New Jersey and have made this their home, and they have done so many things to already improve the neighborhood. But they have a problem with, if you see the pictures, there's one home behind them that's never been touched, and there are old cars and stuff in the backyard. And then the house next door where the people are living, they have about a 12-foot backyard, but it's just filled with debris and stuff. So they want to add on to their house, make it prettier, maybe put a pool in, and they need the privacy, because you can see that the one house that's never been fixed since Katrina, and then the debris and stuff. So we want them to stay in our neighborhood. They want to put money into their yard and their property, and I think Bay St. Louis would be smart to add them to our good people. And we can see the problem from across the street. So it is quite a problem for them. And I do think it's a hardship for them just to make things look. So thank you for listening.
Thank you. Anybody else in the audience that'd like to speak? I'm speaking from personal opinion. I know everyone doesn't feel the same way, but they know how against 8-foot fences I am just across the board. I want you to put a fence up. I just think 6 foot is sufficient. I just feel like we look so closed in at 8 feet, and it's a hill I'm willing to die on because then the next neighbor comes and says, well, they have an 8-foot fence. I want an 8-foot fence, and then it just keeps going around the neighborhood. My personal opinion, I'm open to other opinions from the commissioners. But I appreciate everything you've done. Yes, ma'am. You want to come to the podium?
Looking out their backyard, it's such a mess. It's such a mess, their neighbor. I mean, the one house, there's no one living there ever, and it's like a junkyard for cars. And I just
Is it a blighted property? Have we addressed?
I don't know why they're letting it be like that. But I can see
Well,
that.
I want to go there if it's causing a problem for the neighborhood. I do.
Well, you
so-
should because
Yeah.
it's rats and
Yeah.
everything,
Yeah.
I'm sure. But
But I don't want to keep
I'm at 420 to
I can't
Boston.
speak.
And if I go down the street
Exasperating
and
problem.
their fence is down, what an eyesore it is. And I don't even
Yeah.
think 6 foot is gonna help. And if they already have like part of an 8-foot fence there, why not just let them continue just for that?
Yeah, even looking at the pictures, I just feel like it's towering that 8 feet. Because, it's 3 foot higher than the average. I just personally feel like 6 foot is sufficient.
I do too. I don't like
Yes, go
8-foot
ahead.
fences.
I don't know,
I know it feels petty, but if we keep asking it and we keep approving 8 foot, then we need to change the ordinance.
if we have a blight problem that you have to look at, we need to fix the blight problem, not amend the ordinance across the board rather than
Because I feel like that's
piecemeal.
why they keep
8 foot,
getting asked,
yeah.
is because the neighbor's house is,
Yeah.
sitting vacant and overgrown, and
8-foot fences are
I'd
not
rather
good.
address the problem.
I'll move we deny it.
I'll
Uh,
second.
Motion by Mr. Ag, second by Mr. Osborne. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Nay. Aye.
Motion passes 4-1, but please be present at the next city council meeting, the Tuesday, November 7th at 5:30 PM. Next application is Weber Keating, application for variance to the zoning ordinance, submitted by Andre Rubber and Ruben Keating. The applicants are wanting to construct an accessory structure. They are requesting 2 variances of 2 feet, resulting in 3-foot setback to the side yard and rear yard. The property is located at 306 St. John Street, parcel 149L-0-29-085.000, part 85, Second Ward, Bay St. Louis. The property is zoned R1, Single Family District. Is the applicant here tonight?
Yes, ma'am. Ruben Keating, 306 St. John.
I'm Andre Weber.
Any questions?
What, the accessory structure is just strictly for storage?
We, bicycles, barbecue pits, lawn chairs, small tools, golf cart, and a boat.
And it looked like I didn't.
Big structure.
It's not,
Yeah.
Well, it's
the
not, it's
structure
not like,
itself.
no, it's the boat's
It's a
19
shed.
foot,
It's a
and
shed.
it's basically, there's 2 brand-new structures down St. John Street. I don't know Mr. Charlie's last name, but, it's pretty much exactly what we're gonna do there. And then further down is the exact same thing, we want to do an adjacent structure with, looking exactly like the house, same E-vite as the house, same materials as the house. And the reason we're trying to get it is because we have, to the, I guess it would be to the north side of the house, we have an easement for the rear property access. And it's not allowing us much room to put any other things to house stuff.
But the carport is existing, right?
It was approved,
was approved.
when the house was built by Ms. Stokes.
So it's gonna follow that line that's already been
Yes, ma'am.
approved? Okay. And then I had a letter from Miss Terry Stoltz, 202 Keller. When I built the home at 306 St. John, a smaller shed carport was approved through planning and zoning based on their needs. Andre and Ruben are requesting to build a little larger shed and to make it a little closer to the property lines. I own the property directly behind this proposal. We have discussed their project in detail, including managing any drainage. Have no conflict with their proposed request. I know the quality of their work and their commitment to adding value to the neighborhood and to Bay St. Louis. I support the approval of their proposal. I didn't have anyone sign up to speak. Anyone in the audience? Any comments or questions from the commissioners? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve?
Motion by Mr. Osborne. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Romano. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Motion passes. Please be present at the next city council meeting, November 7th, 5:30
Thank y'all.
p.m.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next application is Hager. Application for variance to the zoning ordinance submitted by Bill and Ann Hager. The applicants are wanting to construct an accessory structure and are requesting a variance of 2 foot 3 inches, resulting in a 2 foot 9 inch setback to the side yard. The property is located at 126 Demottleston Avenue, parcel 149F-229-230.0002728A, beachfront subdivision. The property is zoned R2, two-family district. Yes, ma'am.
Ann Hager, 126 Demont. My request is pretty much what the guy before me said.
Yeah, I was thinking that when they were talking about it. It's like same situation. You already have the carport and it's gonna follow
I
the
just want to
line.
extend to the rear of the existing carport. And Chip Prevost as the,
I'm Chip Prevost. I drew up plans for this project. The carport that's already existing there has been there since 2012, my recollection. What we want to do is add on to the back of the carport. There's already a pre-existing slab behind it. We want to add on to the back of the existing carport and travel back with the same overhang, the same distance off the fence. The overhang is 2 feet 9 off the fence current. We're not going to intrude on that. We want to stay with that overhang. And it's going to be guttered all the way down, so no water. According to the rules, if it's 5 feet or less, the overhang is 5 feet or less of the fence, we have to gutter it, keep the water off the neighbor's property, so we'll have gutters on the plans. You can't hardly see it from the back or the front. And here's another vehicle, and he really needs to be covered up. He wants to preserve the vehicle. It really gets hot, right in that area. So the whole reason was just to add on that back carport. It's not gonna be as wide as the original carport. It'll look the same on the east and the west side, but it's gonna have a park gable on the inside because it's not as wide front carport.
Right.
That's pretty much it. It was approved before. We'd like to go ahead and just see if y'all will approve it again. I'd like to add one thing. As acting civil service commissioner, I appreciate y'all being here. I know volunteering. I know what y'all.
You don't think we're a joke? You don't think we're a joke?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate that, no, really.
more questions?
Yes, any questions?
I'm your neighbor, Miss Hager. I live around the corner from
Yeah.
you. I say hello to your husband all the time. You're going to replace the temporary one where that truck's parked on the picture you sent us?
Yeah.
Okay, that's going to be an improvement.
I'm tired of taking the canvas off every time
No-
we have
no-
a storm.
no
Yeah.
tires,
or a
no cinder
hurricane.
blocks and.
That's right.
Anyone in the audience that wanted to speak? I didn't have anyone signed up. If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I move it. Second.
Motion, by Mr. LeBlanc, second by Mr. Romano. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Motion passes. City
you.
council meeting Tuesday, November 7th, 5:30 PM. Next application is from the City of Bay St. Louis. Application for text amendment to the zoning ordinance. The city is asking to amend Article 8, regulations for off-street parking and loading areas, Section 803, exceptions to be amended as follows. In C1 district, no off-street parking is required with the exception of whenever a residential or hotel motel use is permitted. Such residential or hotel motel use shall comply to the regulations for off-street parking.
So,
Yeah.
let me go to the. Pretty self-explanatory. C1 district, which is your true downtown, Main Street, 2nd Street. The only thing that currently requires parking is if you build residential, house, condominium complex. Hotels and motels is not considered a residence. So this would just make that would also follow our parking regulations that are existent, which is 1 per sleeping room. So that's,
But to be clear, because it's going to come up, this is all existing hotels, motels are grandfathered in. This would be any new construction of
Yes.
hotels, motels.
yes, and we know, there's a fine line between what a hotel and a motel is. A lot of times they're, condominiums are not hotels. They would still be subject, because you're thinking people are gonna be living there full time. They're still subject to 2 cars per, condo, plus the guests. This would be a hotel, which would be basically a sleeping room, lobby, and everything else.
Any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Move it.
Second.
A motion by Mr. AG, second by Mr. Romano. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes. Okay, another one. City of Bay St. Louis, application for text amendment to the zoning ordinance. The City of Bay St. Louis is asking to amend Article 4, General Regulations 406.3, fence materials to amend as follows. Item B, fence material must comply with all Bay St. Louis ordinances.
So this was, it's been a discussion among city council with, whenever we have any fence one. You have a zoning ordinance, you have all these other ordinances. I think the rationale was more of a request of, they somehow need to agree, but this would, the only way we could figure out to make it agree. You have a property maintenance code, you have a whole plethora of ordinances, so, pass it along, and I think city council should probably have a discussion about it. I don't know if they're approved or not, but probably have a discussion about how would it make it work. Thanks.
There's no questions or comments. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move it.
Motion by Mr. AG, second by Mr. Urbano. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes.
I'm already counting my winnings this morning.
Yeah, I know. Next item is a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll move it.
Motion by Mr. AG. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Romano Beecha. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes. Last item is a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by Mr. LeBlanc. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Romano. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Meeting adjourned.